day for our city, and I could not be prouder to stand here with Starbucks baristas in solidarity today. I'm asking everyone who believes in fairness, dignity, and workers' rights to stand with us on this picket line. While baristas are on strike, the baristas have shared that the best way to show our support is not to buy Starbucks in solidarity. Together we can send a powerful message. No contract, no poverty. No contract, no poverty. No contract, no poverty. Baristas.
I think the claims that millionaires are going to leave our state are like super overblown, and if the ones that leave, like, bye.
Starbucks has announced it will eliminate a little more than 250 corporate jobs, including positions here in Seattle.
So we've been following Katie Wilson for a while now. We covered the picket line against Starbucks. We covered the 2,000 jobs that left for Nashville. We covered her staff physically cutting off reporters on camera. We covered the Association of Washington Business calling this basically a 5-alarm fire in terms of the business climate in Seattle. We did all that, and it looks like things just keep getting worse. So we're going to talk about that today, because that wave of all the things that she's been doing made the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal all in the same week. And then Starbucks announced more job cuts in Seattle. Let's get into it. So a really quick recap of what's going on since Katie Wilson became mayor. She won the mayorship back in November. Hours after winning that election, not days, hours, she was at the Starbucks Workers United rally on Capitol Hill calling for a citywide boycott of one of Seattle's largest employers.
What a day for our city, and I could not be prouder to stand here with Starbucks baristas in solidarity today. I'm asking everyone who believes in fairness, dignity, and workers' rights to stand with us on this picket line. While baristas are on strike, the baristas have shared that the best way to show our support is not to buy Starbucks in solidarity. Together we can send a powerful message. No contract, no poverty. No contract, no poverty. No contract, no poverty. Baristas, and I would like to close with a message to Starbucks. This is your hometown and mine. Seattle's making some changes right now. And I urge you to do the right thing. Because in Seattle, when workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? Because this is your city.
Starbucks responds, not necessarily with a press release, but with their feet. They announced a $100 million expansion into Nashville, 2,000 jobs with the average salary of $125,000, one out of the 5 largest job announcements in Nashville's history. Meanwhile, back in Seattle, 1 out of 4 Washington businesses are actively considering leaving the state. The Association of Washington Businesses surveys over 400 companies. That's why the president called it a 5-alarm fire. Her staff cutting off reporters on camera. She's dodging interviews. Even the founder of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, writes a Wall Street Journal op-ed saying that she's chosen to cast business as a foil instead of a partner, or I'll say rather than a partner. This situation is like someone who inherited a beautiful, thriving restaurant. Long lines at the door, great reputation, regulars who've been coming there for years. On the very first day as the new owner, they walk outside and tell everyone on the block, don't eat here. The regulars leave, the foot traffic stops, the reviews tank, and then 6 months later, the same owner is standing in an empty dining room writing a press release about their commitment to the culinary community. That's Katie Wilson. Seattle is the restaurant, and Starbucks was the line out the door. And what we're about to show you is what happens when you keep running this kitchen the way that she's running it. Real quick, shout out to Chapter for sponsoring this video. If you are 65 or approaching 65, Medicare is very confusing, and most people end up in the wrong plan because nobody walked them through it properly. Chapter is a free Medicare advisory service. They search across every Medicare plan available to you. They match you with the right coverage based on your actual situation, your doctors, your prescriptions, your budget. Their advisors are salaried. They're paid the same no matter what they recommend. So there's zero incentive to steer you wrong. If you want to know if you're leaving money on the table, give them a call at 570-906-8018. That is 570-906-0818. Free consultation, zero pressure, link in the description. Let's get back into it.
Starbucks has announced it will eliminate a little more than 250 corporate jobs, including positions here in Seattle. Business leaders suggest it is another warning sign that the job market is cooling fast after the approval of new city and state taxes.
So Starbucks just announced another round of cuts, over 250 more corporate jobs, including positions right here in Seattle. And this time, it's not just local news covering it. You have the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, all three ran pieces in the same week, naming Katie Wilson by name. They're framing across all three of these companies. She's taunting the rich, fighting with Starbucks, and Washington Post's actual headline, waving goodbye to prosperity.
Molly, Washington's former governor and other civic leaders are suggesting that recent statements and policies are forming a national perception about this state and city's business climate.
Seattle is, in some ways, at a bit of a tipping point, and we should take nothing for granted.
It may be impacting perception and reality. Data shows visitors are still pouring into the city, like Sheila Campbell of Colorado in town for a cruise.
We just went to the Needle. That was pretty cool.
And while the residential population continues to climb, job growth is stagnant in Seattle.
Worker foot traffic in Seattle is still 60% of pre-pandemic levels. Brick and mortar retail jobs down by double digits. Job growth stagnant. Residential population going up, but the jobs are not following the people. And Downtown Seattle Association president, who by the way is extremely diplomatic here, had this to say.
Well, I think the tone and tenor and words matter if you're leading a city.
The tone and tenor and words matter when you're leading a city. That's common sense. I mean, that's a business leader who is being as polite as possible. Your mayor is doing active damage in real time. April 14, 2026, 4 months into her term, Katie Wilson is at a Seattle University forum. The event is literally called Governing Through a Progressive Lens. She's on stage with the King County executive, and someone asked her a question. Given that Washington just passed a new 9.9% income tax on earnings over $1 million, are you actually worried that the millionaires are going to leave? And then she says what she says. Now, the problem is no one has to feel sorry for millionaires. They're going to be fine. They don't need me or anyone in their corner. But this is about understanding something really basic about how cities work. Let's go back to the restaurant metaphor. The millionaires are not the customers you may like. They may be loud, they might order something weird, but they're leaving $40 tips on a $20 check. And that tip money is what pays the busboy, the dishwasher, the line cook. When you wave them out the door, everyone downstream feels it. The mayor's job is to fund schools, fix roads, pay city workers, run social programs. The money comes from taxes, and high earners pay a disproportionate share of those taxes. When they leave, and they absolutely have the ability to leave, the base shrinks and the budget hole gets bigger. And here's where Wilson's situation goes from bad to really, really messy, because she ran a campaign that included promises to raise business taxes even more to close a growing budget hole. So think about that for a second. The restaurant is losing customers, and her solution is to raise the prices.
Would you give her any advice on that?
Seattle doesn't need more business taxes. We need more businesses in Seattle paying taxes.
You should really print that and put that on a shirt. You cannot tax your way out of a shrinking tax base. You need businesses in the city paying into the system. You don't get more businesses by boycotting the ones already there and waving goodbye at the ones thinking about leaving. And this is not just about the city budget.
At a time when former Washington Governor Christine Gregoire is warning state policies may continue the trends.
But I left office with a budget of $33 billion. And the budget today is $80 billion. I think that's a little bit too much of a growth. I would suggest to you, we don't really have an income problem. We have a spending problem.
She's right. I mean, the state budget's bigger than it's ever been, and the city budget is bigger than it's ever been.
The state budget was $33 billion when she left office. Now it's $80 billion today. That's not a Republican saying that. That's a two-term Democratic governor saying that the spending has lapped the revenue. And Wilson's answer is to chase away the people generating that revenue. Here's what I need you guys all to understand. And this goes beyond just talking about Katie Wilson. She was a community organizer before she became mayor. And organizing is a real skill. Organizing serves a real purpose, but there's a fundamental difference between an organizer does and what a mayor does. An organizer's job is to apply pressure. A manager's job is to manage a city that lives with the consequences of that pressure. And these two are not the same job. Not at all. And look, This isn't just a Seattle problem. I am in New York City. You know what's going on with Miami. This is basically on a very identical platform. Government-run grocery stores, aggressive wealth taxes, same energy, just a different coast. These cities are going to run the same experiment and find out if the results are going to be different. They won't be, because America, whether these mayors like it or not, is a competition. States out there actively recruiting businesses away from places like Seattle. 17% of Washington employers have already been contacted by out-of-state economic development organizations, offering them a better deal to go somewhere else. Tennessee's governor literally held a press conference thanking Starbucks for coming, said the people of Minnesota have made their state the envy of many states. That used to be Seattle that he was describing. So this is where we are. Starbucks is in Nashville, another 250 jobs cut from Seattle, because Washington went from 6th best state to do business in 2014 to 45th place today. And the mayor's most viral moment is a dismissive hand gesture at the tax base that funds everything. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.